No buzz, you're doing fine.
He saved us because the microphone was, somebody futzed with the microphone.
Ah, hello.
Sorry, I'm late.
That's all right, we just turned it on.
We're
You
live.
want me to write it down?
Oh, yeah, thank you, John. Yeah, thanks.
All right, so
Fairly well.
call the meeting to order. Bob, do you remember how many people are a quorum? I think we might have one.
So I can
We
this
do.
on my wrist?
We have 5 voting.
5.
Too many-
1, 2, 3, 4,
Too many
5.
horse brains.
These,
We did it
Oh,
last time.
right here.
we had
Not over at 8, but you might have
me,
at 8:30.
Jan,
mornings before I
John,
remember.
Bob. Yeah, we had 4.
Do you have my phone number too?
Yeah, oh yeah, I got that.
Okay.
And, oh, George and
Thank you.
Seth came in later. So we ended up with more, with plenty then. Well, we did by the end of the
You're
meeting.
I like your hat.
It keeps my ears warm. Nancy Dale.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys got to read the February minutes that Jan sent out.
Yep.
And if so, we can take a vote on approving them.
I would move that they are approved.
I would second that motion.
Any discussion or corrections or anything like that? All in favor? Okay, that's good. That is there. So, that chairman's report was Jan's. Feedback, I think Max is probably the best person. We had some feedback on the pamphlet when you mailed it out,
Yes.
and you made a few little tweaks, including the town seal and a few other things.
Sure, I'm the one who made those changes. But yeah, I got the recommendations for some changes to it, and I'm gonna try and apply that to the pamphlet, and I'll send it out when I can actually get it done.
There was I know I was concerned that the aerial photograph wasn't very good.
Clear, yes.
Can we use Google Earth, or is that against the law? Or do we have another picture that's better?
We can use Google Earth. The problem is it wouldn't get an aerial picture like that. I think we would need a drone to get a shot like that. For Google Earth, we would just be getting like
Straight down.
yeah, just a straight down overhead of maybe the downtown, and also Google Earth isn't updated every year,
Right.
so
Well, do we have some, like, I was saying Google Earth just to show I knew about Google Earth, but, and I do know about some drones. But do we have any that fly that we can operate?
Well, we know there's people in town who have drones
So
and,
that-
yeah,
that's-
it would be a voluntary thing because the town
You
doesn't
can
own
hire
one.
That is playing, not recording.
Oh no, what you're hearing is the first responders radio. It's not our thing.
Oh, it's just coming out of a speaker over there?
apparently.
If this is the same thing like it was in December.
Oh,
Oh, I see.
And now you all know where my secret camera was.
yeah.
That's very funny.
So you can't turn the volume down on that?
Hmm?
I mean, I could hear it almost. EMS radio?
Okay, so,
So a better picture is doable, and I'll stop talking about it.
okay.
I had a question about the brochure.
Mhm.
I think you've been in touch with Marcia about some of the ideas she had.
Mhm.
Has anything come of that?
I believe I sent around that pamphlet that she changed and edited. It had the picture of Madomic River as the front cover and the new town seal that everyone saw. I can resend that out. I can't remember the
Did
exact.
you get any feedback on it
From anybody.
from anybody?
I don't remember seeing and realizing that it was what you just said, so I apologize for that.
Would you send it around again?
I'll send it around again.
She had a couple of issues with the brochure.
Yes.
And whether they matter to us or not, it's up to us.
Well, they were graphic designer issues in particular.
Yeah, they were, and she doesn't use Word to design brochures. It's not a good program for that. She uses
Right.
Illustrator
Right.
all this
Well,
other
yeah, and
stuff.
actually, she's right about
And
that.
she is.
Yeah, in order to get it published, it needs to be professionally put onto something other than Word.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah, I
all.
just use Word
Yeah.
because
For draft.
Because
Yeah.
months ago you just wanted something and
Right.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like
Okay.
I got
Are you
5 minutes.
conversant with the Illustrator? Do we have it in the office?
No, I don't
So
think so.
we would need
It's
her
not
or
something.
someone.
Yeah.
If you go to a printer, they'll do
Yeah.
it on
Expensive.
for you.
Yeah, I know, Marcia has it, a designer or someone has it already, because they use it.
And the
So
issue-
maybe if you came up with a final draft that we have the next meeting?
Well, the
and then
thing
we can all
about,
look at it, right?
the only thing about it is we have to agree or not agree that Marcia's input is something we'd like to see in there. And then I'm not sure if Max can actually put it all together at that point, because she was using,
a different
Different
program
software.
that
yeah, she was
I
using a
don't
program he
own.
doesn't have, so he had to send around that document as it is without merging it because he doesn't have the program to do that.
So then I beg to ask the question. If we're gonna have that published in the final form, as it's decided, doesn't it have to be in some kind of a more sophisticated Adobe Illustrator or type of program format? Who's
Mm-hmm.
gonna do that?
Well,
Bob actually has.
That looks pretty.
So if she's gonna
I've never
do it,
seen
then
that.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I
that takes
sent
care
it.
of it.
We don't,
Lovely
we don't
guy.
have to pay for her
That,
work.
if you guys pass it this way after,
Oh, she'll do it, all right, all right.
that
Then
way,
she'll put it in there.
Yeah.
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 I think the issue she even said with that brochure is that she was just using the picture of Madomic that I had, and so it might look a little bit blurry than you'd want. So
Yeah.
I just have to give her a bigger picture.
I know a printer will do it for a fee, and usually it's not very expensive.
You know, she'll do
But
it.
she'll do it, all right,
She,
yeah.
she's really good.
Yeah,
when it
she
comes to
donates
that
a
kind
lot of stuff,
She's
yeah.
hardcore
No doubt,
graphics artist.
she's a good choice to go to.
mm-hmm. Everything she does is very clean, the design is very clean.
Yeah, the other issue she had with it was complicated. It
Yeah.
wasn't as simple as the message might have been. That's where she was making comments.
She redid the map, I think, a little bit, she put the new town seal, and she gave us some ideas. We don't have to go with a photo like
Go with anything.
of the river exactly like that, but she was saying format-wise,
Yeah.
I like this up here that shows
Yeah.
where Waldeboro fits into the coastal
Right.
area.
I think that's the map I showed in earlier.
she just did a different format of it, that's all, yeah.
And it, yeah,
Because it's rounded edges and a little 3D
very good. I've seen
on the
this
edges.
before.
Yeah, so
Nice.
this is the,
Is this yours?
no, this is Bob's.
I think her
Well, the
main-
laptop's Bob's, the brochure's Marcia's.
I hadn't seen this new version. What happened to your old one?
It gave out on me. It was 10 years old. It was done.
So we don't,
That's
so
not bad,
here's
Ted.
her.
Duties.
And then
Then this was just the word, she modified the wording and said we could put photos in around it.
Yeah.
But she was just, trying to make it font-wise reasonable, but I think what I think it's worth revisiting, if you guys wanna see it, do you?
How do we reconcile this, backing up for a minute, the software issues so that we can, I mean, we shouldn't be, have our, what are we, hobbled by our software?
Well,
Worst term, I think, but.
um,
Well, I mean, I used Word because the town's always gonna have a subscription to Microsoft Office, but other than this one occurrence, how often
You're right.
would I be using?
Well, right, but it sort of crippled us at this meeting, it sounds like, or has it? I mean,
it just means that looking at the design and figuring out the design, we couldn't do a final approval on something on Word until we saw how it would merge into Illustrator or,
Okay.
you know, a real professional software. Then we would have to do a final approval on that, because it changes it.
well, okay, I have no idea what it costs to get her software, but.
It's a lot.
It's expensive.
And, yeah,
And if you're not using it
Right, you only use it once.
Yeah.
Usually the customer is someone who's a professional in that world, has it, and everybody
Right.
uses it, gets it done that way without owning it. I mean, I would say, even my brochure for my own horse activity is done on Illustrator, and I pay somebody
Yeah.
to do it.
A silly thing, but where she has the quote from Ocean Organics, it should be from Waldeboro Business Park.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how to,
I can just make a
That's
note of
easy.
that, so.
She'll, yeah, that'll do.
She
How
just
many
did it,
contacts?
all she did was send us
There it
something
is,
to
right
look
there.
at so
Yeah,
that
she
we
wants
could
Waldeboro
see
Business Park.
her
She wants-
suggestions.
no. Oh, anyway, I'll back away
How
from
many
that.
copies are we gonna have printed?
Annex
Who knows?
should be.
You're the
But you
chair.
know,
You're gonna put
the,
it at all the different state, for the people coming up here where they stop on the
I don't know, that's up,
visitor centers, or?
that's up to the board, when we get to, and the town and our budget.
I mean, we could take it to trade shows and pass it out.
Yeah.
I'd do that.
The printing nowadays is not a super expensive proposition compared, I mean, it's about almost, well, we are doing printing, in the past, we did the WBA's big fold-out brochure, which was fairly large. And I think the design was like, we paid for the design because it was so much work. Might have been around $1,400 or $1,500, and the printing, $2,200 or something for 8,000 copies.
Wow.
And we put them at every,
Yeah, the digital printing, I think, is much cheaper than.
much
the
cheaper.
Full
Yeah, much
color
cheaper.
separations and
Yeah,
all that.
and it's nice. So, for $5,000 or less, for $4,000 actually.
Do we have a line item in this new budget?
I don't know.
We
I don't
asked for a
think
line
so.
item.
I don't-
I know that Julie was thinking of putting in a, under the select board, I guess, or maybe.
Yeah, it might be in a
maybe
different
Max-
category.
your-
I don't
your
think it's in the
department.
planning. But it's been a
Well,
couple
she's-
months since I looked at it, so.
She said last
have to
month that
check.
it would be in it.
Well, the book's supposed to be out today, so
Oh, my.
we'll have a look at it.
Yeah, and see, we can always
Yeah.
adjust it if we have to.
Something, it's supposed to be something in there for committees.
Right. All right. Anything else from anybody? Any other questions?
Have we resolved what the next step on this thing is, or do we know? where
Well,
we're
the
gonna go
next
with it?
step is that people should look at what Marcia sent, so Max is gonna send it again, and make any comments, but then we really need to decide as a committee if we would like Marcia to actually work on it and what that might mean.
Yeah, this
It-
past month.
It might be worthy to, when you make that decision, get a proof copy made. Everybody has one, bring it to the meeting.
Seems
make
like the
final
next step-
decision, yeah, and then-
Seems like the next step on the one that you have on your computer that I apparently lost, but is someone's gotta decide, lay out whatever pictures go in where the pictures could go, and change a word or two. If, this is where I get back to the software, if we, and I certainly do, value, respect, rely on Marcia's thoughts on that, do we need a motion to turn that over to Marcia and pay her to do it?
Are we being recorded?
Yes.
Yes.
We've had this discussion, Marcia and I have, and it's not an issue. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
So she could help us for that, to do a proof.
She will help us, yeah.
Good.
So Max, will we let Max or one of us reach out to
I'd say
Marcia?
leave it with Max, I mean, he's doing
Do you
this.
feel comfortable talking to Marcia about what we've got so far and seeing what she could merge and what she couldn't merge into it for photos, and who's gonna look for some drone pictures? Maybe ask her if she knows any better drone pictures.
Yeah, I can ask her and see if she's able to do the final draft and send her some
Yeah,
better
ask her.
pictures so she can just
The
have.
quality of the pictures is gonna be everything.
Yeah,
Yes. And one of the other things I was waiting for was snow to clear up so I can get a
Oh,
good
yeah.
picture of the solar farm.
Right.
Oh.
Because that's something
Big
every
deal.
well
That
that's
is
something
something.
everyone was saying they wanted
Absolutely.
months ago, and
It should
we
be
were
within
like,
a couple weeks.
and I'm pretty sure we joked back in November, oh, you know, the brochure is going to take so long, we might as well get the solar farm. Well, we're actually
Can we climb that utility pole? That would give you kind of a bird's eye view, at least a better one than
Well, if you got a
from the
drone,
ground.
if we have a drone,
That'd be great, but I don't know if anybody's got a drone.
We could ask Sundog if they have a generic picture of just, not, immediate area, but a
You know
picture
what,
of just the.
they might even have a drone
Right.
because of their,
Yeah,
their
because
business.
they're
It might
out-
be worth
Yeah.
a shot,
Yeah.
just to see.
There are drones around. I've seen
Oh, yeah.
videos of this Madonic
Make a note to
forebay
call Sundog.
coming from the south end,
Do you
coming
know,
north.
do you know,
Right.
Chip?
Yeah.
Have you seen that video?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
So for next meeting, maybe, Max?
There was one other big
Let's try
thing
and
she
get a
had,
final
and that is,
draft.
do
I'll
we want to
try.
have clamming in the front and center on the brochure? She felt strongly that we shouldn't. Because yes, it's part of Waldoboro, but it's not what Waldoboro is all about for the
It's,
future.
well, it's very broad. What we have here is more broad than that.
Yeah.
It's one of the major things.
Yeah.
And when you're attracting people from the
Yeah.
outside world, they're not gonna wanna come into the clamming business. They're gonna
Right.
wanna come here for,
That was her point.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I just included any suggestions that were made.
I'm gonna be a broken record on this. If we have a picture or a drone picture of the solar farm at the transfer station, I hope it doesn't show that it goes like that.
That's funny.
And I
It's
think
driving me crazy.
we ought to have a photograph of the entrance to your business park.
If you've got a drone,
That
you could
piece of
even go
sculpture.
higher.
Oh,
That would be better.
Yeah.
I'm also
Over
limited on space for pictures. That's the other thing. Like,
Well, at some point, when we get a new website, then we could do a nice overview of slides, photography, just
And
rotate it.
that's next phase.
Yep,
Yeah.
next phase. Yep,
Just, make sure you know your audience, and you're gonna get one takeaway from it. So just hone in on that. And if your audience is somebody to visit here, it's gonna be a lot different than somebody who's gonna invest money here.
Yep.
So, and then you want them to take away one positive thing that's gonna grab them.
Do we know what
Just
that
once.
one positive thing is?
Well, that's,
That's what it
no,
is.
that's, I'm
Fine.
putting it out there.
gotta
That's
be.
essential for this brochure.
It's got to get across the idea of business-friendly and business-ready.
Yes, business ready.
The communication center, the availability of space to build a business. Transportation central.
Communication.
Yeah, exactly, that kind of.
The map showing Waldoboro on the
Yeah.
coast, that's a
As
plus.
the
Yeah.
hub.
The Waldoboro Business Park is a
Yeah,
plus.
we got to have a picture of something.
Maybe
That's
one
the
small
area.
thing about how it's beautiful, but to be honest with you, there's 1,001 places that are beautiful.
that's true.
And some more beautiful than us.
That's
So
absolutely
let's
true.
concentrate on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We gotta grab them,
And-
like LBJ said.
And she also thought there ought to be a photograph of your cutting-edge solar building as well. But we need to tell people, if we do that, we need to tell people what it is.
Well-
It doesn't look like, it's a solar,
It looks like a Quonset hut with
yeah, it
Yeah.
does,
stuff
but
on it.
once you explain, this is,
well, to kill two birds with one stone, should I just do that instead of the solar farm and business park as two separate
But
things?
does
and
that
just get
clearly
back?
communicate solar innovation from the picture?
No, it needs some
No.
capital.
Then
explain.
don't, then
Needs
don't.
capital
Don't do
ID.
it.
No, you gotta, it's gotta,
Just has to,
somebody's gonna pick it up,
yeah.
it's gotta jump.
The right shot at we have a beautiful transfer station, if those words,
We actually-
that
no,
is
we-
not an oxymoron.
Yeah.
Right,
And if we can get a shot that the panels are looking straight, fantastic,
Yeah.
or not looking crooked.
Yeah, or wavy.
okay.
So I'll do all that.
Thank you, Max.
Hopefully I'll have something by next month.
So Jan had written something about a said status. I assume that's just an update on the dates that we're,
Yeah, I mean, real quick, we're, at some point, we're gonna ask for said projects, nominations or projects, within a week or so. We're gonna be due probably the third or fourth week in April, and then we'll be looking at the project. So someone will have to go to that meeting to present the four that the committee.
would that be end of April, beginning of May? or-
Probably beginning of May.
Beginning of
yeah,
May?
on that there. So,
Okay.
John is actually going to serve on the SEDS committee, John Lawrence, so you have one
That's
person
nice.
there
That's cool.
already. It's a very collaborative
great.
process. It's not competitive. If you meet the criteria, you're on the list, and everybody's going to present at the same time, offer a brief presentation. It's more, so everybody knows what everybody else is doing, so the ability to make
You'll
connections
enjoy it.
with your projects for everyone. And the committee's role is to help make these projects better, not to say yes or no, but to say, have you considered this, or, you know. And then,
Right.
when they're on the list, we have a chance then to work with the towns to get matching funds or whatever to move those projects forward. So the next question is what do we want to work on next? And I think we had a discussion on that a bit the last time. And Max, the two things that came out were the school proposal and the connection downtown.
Yeah, last
So-
time,
Right.
last time you guys sequenced the sets projects to determine the ones you wanted to focus on more, and it went in the following order based on your votes. First was community college, second was downtown commercial renovation project, third was the Madomic Valley High School sewer expansion, and then fourth was the business sewer expansion.
So with
as you go.
that said, we can start flushing in those top two projects, so we can have kind of like a plan of action on
I
that.
get it, that was good, but flushing.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry.
You laughed first.
Yeah. But if that sounds doable, what we'll do is just put kind of an outline of an action plan, and we can start.
I had a chat with John Fancy last week on sewage. He has the plans, the prices and so on to attach SAD 40 high school ready to go. It's been done.
Yeah,
He knows
a long time in the making.
Recently?
It's a few years old.
Speaking of
Okay.
which, if we
Not
could
outrageous.
add to
Well,
that
not,
SEDS
not because we've been talking about
item,
it, but just
No,
because we've always
hooking
been
up
talking
the
about it.
Well,
Sylvania
when
plant
they-
to the town sewer, so
3-4
that
years
the
ago, they
water
had to
they're
do
pulling
something.
out of there isn't going into the river. Even if it's just water that is wastewater after the process, it still ought to be going into the
To
town
the
sewer.
system, yeah. Should be a smaller project.
Okay,
Yeah,
it would be
but that-
separate from,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we can
All right.
probably
Say,
get that.
say that, I'm sorry, say that again?
Where's the water coming from?
The Sylvania's cleaning up the
Circulate, yeah.
water.
Oh, okay.
What the so-called clean water goes into a trench that ends up in the river
So you're
itself.
indeed.
suggesting that should go to the sewer?
And that ought to be connected to the town sewer.
I'm not sure I agree with you. What I think is a careful understanding of what that water consists of, then move forward in the proper direction.
John Fancy's looked at that, Ted, and
Good.
he's comfortable with it.
Good.
He thinks they can handle it. You
Well,
know
I
about
just-
the heavy metals and things, but he's comfortable with
As
that.
long as he knows what's there.
Yeah, no, he does.
Well, if
We
we can
talked
put it in the
about
That's the
river-
that.
key. Good.
If we can put it in the river, we can certainly put it in the sewage treatment plant.
Yeah. Well, and it would mean some revenue for
Yeah.
them,
Exactly.
so.
Now we're talking.
And that would be paid by the people who, if
By
any,
lead vance.
someday
Yeah.
we might
Yeah,
want leverage
exactly.
over.
Yep.
The more it costs them, frankly, the more it costs them to be here, the more they might comply with what we wish.
So we'll put together kind of something to get. And one last thing, if we can get on the next agenda, this fits into the SEDS, and that's to start a conversation here, because it'll take some time, is talking about TIFs. We should start, that's one of the things in the comp plan, and that'll take us time to kind of flesh that out a little more too, so.
Have you identified a first applicant utilizing a TIF?
No, that's something we have to kind of get a sense of what kind of TIF we want, how the district would be, because that could be part of the Sylvania
Yeah.
project too. So there's a lot of things that, and it will fit nicely into what we're talking about for those 4 SEDS projects.
All right.
So,
I knew it was complex.
yeah. Well, it all kind of fits together, and it's an income generator, so, which is a plus.
Communication Technology Committee update?
Yes, well, let's see, I'll make this pretty quick. 2 things. The fiber that's supposed to be going in on Manktown Road and Chapel has been now stated to be done on Manktown first, and not sure when on Chapel, so that's,
But they're not backing off of that, are they, John?
well, I haven't gotten a definite answer on that.
Would that include the high school?
This has nothing to do with the school. The
Okay.
school has had broadband
From the beginning.
1
Yeah.
gigabit
Yeah.
since the beginning through the main schools and library program.
They don't have a problem.
So they're not involved here. This is the north part of Manktown Road that has only DSL, which is not working very well.
Indeed.
So they're going from the last mile on the north end of Manktown Road, and they had to go underground on Union Road
Wow.
to get up to Old Augusta Road where their infrastructure is, because the neighboring community telecommunications company wasn't cooperative to let them on the poles.
Gee, surprise.
So that's what's part of the delay. And so they've got that, the cable is already run on the poles.
Wow.
The fiber, all the way up to the intersection of Manktown Road where Chapel crosses. And then it goes towards Union for a short distance, and then goes underground by all of those
Oh, the
quarries.
granite, the quarry.
Those quarries all in there. And then it comes out and goes into the box up on Old Augusta Road in Warren.
Wow.
At the end of, that's how how complicated it is. So that's the status of that, and we plan to have some kind of a formal team effort between our committee, the CTC, and LCI to help get the word out once they're ready. They're not ready yet. And Chapel is TBD. In the meantime, there are 20 homes on Chapel that do not have service, broadband service, and it's 1 mile long.
Ooh,
So
that's good.
That's hopefully, and I sent an email to LCI last week asking them if they would be interested in applying for a grant for this round, which is due by the end of March. And I haven't heard anything. So I don't think they're anxious to go roaring ahead until they get this going and see what the take rate is. Take rate is a big deal, and as we all know.
Yeah. Is it above and beyond to say they have bent over backwards on this project and spent probably a bit more money than they thought they'd have to spend? Or are they still in budget?
I think they're in budget.
They are, okay.
Based on the prior grant that we
Yeah.
had for Old Augusta Road. And there are more people on Old Augusta Road that have signed up recently, by the way.
Good.
Good.
And one of them has a 1 mile long driveway, which they put the cable on themselves.
Wow.
And they have it terminated at the road where they connect into the LCI fiber. It's kind of creativity seems to go on in some areas.
Yeah.
So the owner of the property
Yep.
bought a mile of cable and
Yep,
hung it
that's right.
on their own poles,
Yeah, they put it on the ground, on their own property.
laying it on the ground, or?
Yeah. Direct burial cable will work on the ground or under the ground just as well. It's more volatile when it's on the ground than if it's under, but people do that.
And you don't have to put it in a conduit?
No, just,
I didn't know that.
yeah. And that, in fact, that idea was,
Road tiller away.
that idea has been around since the cable came to this community. There were people with long runs of Spectrum, which was then Time Warner, that did the same thing with their coax. So that's that. Now, the other thing that's going on is we've been trying for almost a year now to have a face-to-face meeting with Spectrum, and they keep promising to do it, but then it keeps getting postponed or turned into a telephone conference call, but never a face-to-face meeting. We have two matters. Number one, we have a franchise agreement, which technically speaking, according to them, is still in place because we've never signed a more recent one. But it goes back 3 generations of cable operators to Adelphi.
Adelphi.
So we're still, we're struggling to get them to come here. In fact, I insist that they come here face to face, or we go there somewhere. Julie and I and at least 1 or 2 other committee members that can make it during the day, to meet with them, to try and propose an idea that I think is worthy of considering for the unserved people of Waldoboro that remain in these small pockets. since they now meet the criteria for full credit on a grant because of the speed enhancement of their system, and they are eligible for grants, and they are getting grants for that purpose, that we ought to apply for a grant with them to get these unserved pockets filled with their connectivity. And every one of those pockets has coax from their company running right near them, these pockets, but doesn't go all the way to these homes. And I've given, Julie has a list of all of those.
Good. Don't they have an adequate representative in Rockland who's
No.
able to make decisions?
I don't want to go into any more detail, but
Fair enough.
I've tried with her, and we've totally ended up frustrating each other.
Frustration is where we leave it. Thank you.
So that's that. So that's that part of it. Now, the other part of it is that we have a franchise agreement that's 3 generations of ownership. And all the neighboring towns are all trying to get their franchise agreements, and they there have been articles in the local paper about them getting meetings. So what's wrong with Waldoboro? Why can't we have a meeting with Melinda Kinney and Shelley Witchenbach? Those are the 2 people. So that's a very frustrating situation. And one of our other committee members who has contact with them for his own purposes for his business has tried his avenue and has come up with nothing either, so we're
Would it be
still.
possible to go a little further up the copper chain?
Well, that's an interesting question. It was recently pointed out to me that we have to be a little bit cautious about how we communicate with the people in the higher levels of the state.
I was thinking higher levels.
And, not only at the PUC, but in any of these other avenues, because it tends to have other political
Ramifications, yes.
roundabout. So I am trying to be cautious. I'm trying not to have public meetings about this in Augusta. I'm trying to deal with the people directly on a one-on-one to get these things done. And we're not doing very well on this one. So there you go.
Thank you.
That's my update.
Thank you. Alrighty, do you know anything about?
Yeah, it's connected.
Ah, the solar farm is connected.
Oh, good,
I was
good,
told
good.
yesterday when I went up there
Yay.
that we got
Oh, wow.
the thing running. Oh,
Fantastic.
that's not from the horse's mouth.
Right, but that's
No.
good.
That's what they said.
The website access to what it's doing, is that
I
available yet?
don't know.
You beat me to the question.
Because
Good
that's
question.
real fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
watch that.
I don't think they're that far along. are
No,
they?
Yeah.
I think that's gonna happen later.
Yeah.
At least that's what
Who
they
is
said
it?
at the
Is
last
it-
meeting.
It's Sundog who did that last steps, or
Well, there was an agreement that you
Went back and
guys
forth, yeah.
reviewed and blessed, and then Julie, I think, went ahead and signed it and sent it in to CMP, and that was the last.
I think
Step.
that my installer, which was InSource Renewables, Vaughn Woodruff, who you met, I think he's the one. I know he's the one who got me the passwords to get to my website, web access to what's going on with the system.
Okay.
So I would think that means it would be.
Sundog.
Sundog.
Yeah, that could get us access.
Yeah.
I would still verify that we're
Yeah.
actually connected. I mean, my sources, I just would verify it,
All
that's
right.
all.
All right, well, at
So
least
I have
it's,
a question about this. This conversations I hear about the orientation of the panels being not consistent across the whole length. Is that an issue to the point that they're gonna correct it, or they're gonna leave it as?
If we're talking about the thing that I keep bringing up, which
Yeah.
is just this visual thing, because I used to shingle roofs, and it's not a straight line when you look across the top edges of them, or it doesn't follow the curve. I don't know if that's putting a shingle under the cement block, or I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
It doesn't affect the performance.
right, I don't think it's a performance issue. It's,
No, I agree with you, but the visual appearance for a PR point of view.
It's, again, I hate, it shouldn't even probably warrant committee time, but it seems like they should fix it. If it is a simple adjustment, which I would think it would be.
We can ask Julie to talk to them about it.
They have to put extensions on the brackets.
Yes.
Under the panels where the existing ones are to level it off.
It's pipes of some sort that,
I thought it was the design. I thought it was a unique thing.
ah,
I guess not.
Who knows? Okay. Comp plan update, Bill and Max?
I mean, the public hearing is on March 29th. After that hearing, the committee will make changes, and then it'll get presented to the select board for consideration to be placed on the warrant for the June town meeting.
is that the next meeting of that group?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
not
yeah.
meeting until we're gonna be at the public hearing.
Yeah.
Then we're meeting 3 days later,
I believe so, that Monday after.
Monday
April
after.
2nd.
April 2nd.
April 2nd,
Yeah.
to make changes, George, to,
Yeah,
in
the
response.
committee agreed to meet like earlier before, because everyone is taking on roles for the
Right,
presentations.
we're coming in earlier than the public hearing starts, like half an hour or
Half an
something?
hour.
5:30.
Yeah, it would
So,
be
yeah, but the,
Great, if, I'm not sure, it's not this group, I guess, just make sure there's an email that reminds
Yeah.
me.
Is that at 6 in the evening?
yeah.
6 in the evening.
And
But-
has the comp plan been published yet?
Yeah.
It is on the website.
It
and,
is.
And I'm handing out hard copies to groups as
Yeah.
it
And-
happens. That's why
And it's a
Ted just got one.
draft, so it's a draft
Okay.
form.
Yeah.
Yes.
I apologize in advance. I will be out of town on that hearing date, so,
If you're, if
Can you
you're printing. if you're
send
print-
comments?
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're printing more of them, it wouldn't hurt to put draft on the front,
I would
Because-
put a stamp with draft on
Alright.
the front, yeah.
just because people will.
We'll think it's the final.
And they'll rip it apart as though it
it
wasn't
was.
draft, yeah, okay. All right. Anything else, any questions? Yeah,
A different topic?
Oh.
Is that, no?
yeah,
Okay,
we're
well,
done. No,
I'll
we're-
wait until you go.
Are we
first.
done with public hearing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
We have a vote, an open town meeting on the 27th of March, a special one, to consider the new solid waste ordinance and the new shared services agreement. And it's important that well, I'm advocating for it. It's important that we get there and get it done. If we don't, the alternatives aren't very good. The one we have now expires at the end of this month because PERC is gone and fiber right is in. So the old agreement and everything flies out the window. If this doesn't pass, I suppose Julie's argue we can renew the existing shared services agreement. But that's awkward because that shared services
Yeah.
agreement deals specifically with PERC. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with fiber right
Right.
or the new relationship. So I hope that,
Is there anything-
this goes through.
Anything likely that's gonna create a barrier to it going through? I mean, does it cost more or anything?
I don't know. Have you heard anything, Jan?
I haven't heard any scuttlebutt at all. What time is that meeting?
I
27th.
think it's at 6 o'clock, but I can't
We have a
confirm
budget
that.
meeting at 6.
Sorry?
also. We have a budget meeting March 27th also.
We do?
We do.
Okay.
2022, 27.
Is that would be the third one
That
if
would
we
be the
have
third
it.
one.
Sometimes
Yeah, sometimes we don't.
we don't go that far
Yeah.
through.
So.
It'll be a short meeting and I,
A yes or no?
The
Yeah,
select
we're
board
just-
meeting you just had,
we talked it with Cushing and Friendship. Well,
Yeah,
Friendship wasn't there,
Right.
except for the two representatives on the transfer station committee. Yeah, and we've addressed their concerns, I think.
Right.
Did you get that impression as well?
Yes.
That Cushing had an issue with the potential for this management board going in and telling Cushing residents what to do or how to do things. And they didn't like that. So we've simply left it that they will inform us, the management board, if something's going on in Cushing that could impact the transfer station. For example, there's been say a house has been condemned, they've got to take it down. Well, that's going to go to the transfer station. It has to do with everybody. So we all ought to be in the loop. And I think they're fine with that part of it.
I
Right?
didn't hear that there was anybody left
No,
there
I-
with a problem with it
Yeah,
after it was
good.
discussed.
Then maybe we're good to go. The other issue they had was with regard to a mention in the ordinance about our land use ordinance.
Ooh,
So we've taken that out.
yeah,
And it didn't impact the ordinance
Yeah.
anyway. And we inserted mention of Georges River and Friendship River as well as the Madomic River.
yeah.
Right.
So it covers all three communities. Yeah.
Does it change the cost to the town?
Sorry?
Does it change the cost to the town?
No, I mean, if anything, with going forward with the fiberite, we're gonna save 16 or 17 bucks a ton.
Okay, so I mean, in
Starting
terms of
April 1st.
potential resistance, it doesn't seem like you should get any.
No.
There were no cost drivers in that discussion of the changes you made in the agreement.
No, there weren't, but fiberite is gonna be advantageous, even if we end up hauling it up to the landfill for a while until they get themselves going. It's still better for us.
All right, so 6 PM is the vote?
I believe so. I haven't seen the public announcement yet, but it'll go out on Tuesday.
Right, well, knowing past times when we've had open meeting votes prior to a select board meeting or whatever, they go quick.
They
So if
do.
you're not on time, you don't get the vote.
Yeah. And didn't we have one on the clam thing here in this room?
We had a
We had an
special town
open,
meeting
we
here.
could have it here.
Yeah.
Actually, we could have it here that night, couldn't we?
Depends on how many people you anticipate, that's the,
Yeah,
that's the
I
big
have
thing.
no feel for it.
I haven't heard any kind of chatter about that at all.
Okay.
And if it doesn't cost more and we
Costs
have to do
less,
it,
yeah.
it seems like,
People
Slam
would be-
dunk.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Does anybody else have, we don't have a status on the streetlights, right? Because that's a budget.
Yeah, it's gonna be part of the budget.
It's part of the budget.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Identified as that or?
So it's a
in
budget
their
request.
Yeah,
discretionary?
I hope it's a line item.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
Is there headway on her getting some discretionary money so that we don't go,
It's in the budget.
the
Depends
discretionary
on how
money?
people, how
budget
people
hearing,
respond to that.
budget meetings start next week, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah,
22nd.
Which department is that under?
Streetlights, LEDs, that's a good question. I think it'll probably be under Public Works. But it's really a relationship between the town office and the company that's gonna come in and do it
Yep.
at the end of the day.
Right.
And I don't know that Public Works or any town department will have a role in actually doing it.
maybe not doing it, but upkeep or monitoring.
That would be Public Works.
Oversight.
Yeah, that would be Public Works.
Yeah,
That would be. And that's the whole thing. It gives the town the right to go on those poles and fix the lights if they
Right.
need to be fixed. And we talked last night about maybe the library parking lot participating in this. And there might be
Oh.
other companies that would want to participate in this. It's worth exploring.
that's a thought.
Business park, maybe, I don't know.
Adding extra lighting,
Sorry?
adding extra lighting to fit into the new
Yeah,
plan.
and trying to keep the light star-friendly, so you don't obstruct
Pointed
the
down.
view of the sky. Yeah,
I've got a couple of lights on the parking lot,
yes,
downtown,
exactly.
and they probably need to be included.
Yep.
That would be nice.
What would be the process for private entities
Buying in,
buying in?
yeah.
Well, that hasn't been defined at this point. If I recall back when we had these discussions, it was a while back, they didn't seem to object to including a non-public people in the process, as long as they were willing to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't seem to me that the amounts of money were outrageous at all.
Yeah, the park might be it would be some new lighting, not, probably, I mean, most of the lighting that's there, hardly any lighting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, if there was some lighting on the road there and a few key places for security,
Yep.
it would be pretty good.
So it'd have to be broken out on a separate meter for the,
Well, actually, the utility doesn't handle that. They just, they don't charge by usage. They charge by the size of the bulb. So if you've got a 20-watt bulb, they charge you for 20 watts. And I don't know how they figure that out. If you've got a 100-watt bulb, you get charged for
So the
100.
people that sell us the lights send us a bill every month forever?
No, this will be
No.
CMP that is continuing
Okay.
to charge us, but the
Right.
wattage will be minuscule compared to what it is now. So the charges will be a lot less
but
than,
it'll be one bill coming to the town, right?
yes, it would be
And
one
then,
bill
so
coming
if
to the
some
town.
private individual wants to have
Well,
lights on their business park or whatever.
There are two potential savings there. One, if they're being charged by usage, the usage is gonna be far less with LED than it is with what they've
Right.
got now.
But then there'll be charges that the business park owner should be paying to the town then.
No,
No, it'll be
they're
there.
Really?
They're already wired,
It would
so
be their
it's
thing.
just changing a bulb.
It would be their thing.
Well, no, if there was some new lighting that we put in the park, we've got, this park has 2 meters right now for whatever the reason. I'm not sure, it would be a matter of which meter do you come off of, and that would depend on where the light was.
Yep,
But that's your expense.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's what I guess I was
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be their expense. It wouldn't be part of the town's
No.
deal. It'd
That's
just
what I
be
meant.
piggybacked onto.
I give it-
Yeah,
wasn't
what,
clear.
sorry,
This
didn't
whole
understand.
situation doesn't involve any actual change in the wiring itself.
No.
All you're doing is changing the bulbs.
No,
It would for the park, but
There's a fixture you also put up there, because LEDs require a ballast of some kind.
Okay.
Different
Yeah,
from
they're different.
Right.
what we have. So you're actually taking the old fixture down, and they've recycled, they got rid of them somehow, and then they put the new one up. And we're trying to get, in the village at least, a look that looks
More
old
appropriate.
townish like, yeah, or,
So,
Where is this company operating in this state already with the,
oh, there've been a couple of towns down south that have done it.
so was one South Portland?
Yeah,
Yeah.
or down in Scarborough. This is not something that is brand new
I
and that
remember,
people have
I was
done.
here when you had the presentation,
Yeah.
but I was just curious if anyone's checked out the performance at any of these other towns that are already,
We can certainly do that again.
I found checking with other towns to be a very useful thing to do
Good
before you make a
suggestion.
commitment.
Yep.
Based on some prior life in this town,
Yeah,
right?
I know Julie's very excited about this and has
Yeah.
been frustrated because she hasn't been able to do anything to save the town money
Right.
because there's no budget line item. It's all about having some flexibility, and that'll be a part of the next budget.
Do you know if the project for the town offices, lights and so forth is in next budget
I don't
request? Okay. That was another thing,
Yeah, it
right?
was.
Yeah, okay. Anybody got anything else before we adjourn?
Did you want to talk more outside? There was.
No, no.
Got anything
No,
else?
Max just asked if there's any more we need to say about the sets, and there's none.
I guess we're good.
Move we adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Very good, thanks.
Timely.
I gotta go in and learn how to reset the servers so that we get connectivity in here.